Ryan White. So I grew up in a protesting family. My mom regularly protested as part of something called Operation Rescue, which is a group of folks who are committed to the unborn and to trying to save lives of people that they feel don't need to die from abortion. So I kind of grew up in that world when I was a little kid, going to those events, meeting people, including kids who had been removed and had forceps scars and other things like that, where they were also committed as kids to trying to talk about abortion and any type of demonic, immoral, LGBT, pagan, witch thing. That my mom was like on that, so she was protesting that, right? So I was always embarrassed at school because my mom was protesting somebody else's parents for something, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, I know, I feel a little gay, but like, so it was this very strange experience that kind of crystallized for me when I met Ryan White, who came to my very small town in my area of San Luis Obispo to give a speech about being a young man, a boy, living with HIV. And it was really this super important moment for me as an LGBT person. And one of the reasons why I do think it's, not the worst thing to do, I guess, to give hope and inspiration to people about feeling that you're born a certain way and what you're going to do about that and what you're going to do with the circumstances that life has presented and provided to you. And kind of initially when I saw, Ryan White coming, like I had heard a lot of the different things that people were saying in my family's community of just like, yo, this is, more immorality. Now they're trying to take it to our kids. And, I'm like, I don't know. Like he's a young man who has living with HIV. He's trying to destigmatize and change how people feel about people who are living with a disease that they can't get rid of. And, who are we to judge, that type of thing. So I kind of wasn't really able to, I wasn't going to be able to protest him. Like I was just like, I'm not doing that. You can go ahead and do that, but if you come and protest Ryan White, then I will literally go over to the gays, ask them for one of their signs, and come and protest you. So I like threatened my mom that I would protest her. Like if she dragged me to a Ryan White protest, she would not be able to stop me from joining the gays. And who knows? Maybe it's like the circus, right? They could just take me to Gayland, and I would never be seen again. I don't know. I was like 11, so maybe 10. So you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where you're just like, but like you just don't want to see it. And I've had that experience as a parent where my kid loves sparkles, loves most things that I don't think it's not my thing. I didn't like those things growing up. I'm a little bit more James Dean. But my kid's a little bit more Marilyn when it comes to just really lovely textures and things like that. He really likes it. And so we would often shop for leggings for him because he always also has issues with buttons and zippers. And it's really important for us to make sure he feels really good about going to the bathroom. And that's what you want your little boy to feel. And so it was fine. Get him leggings from Target, but we actually had a woman come up to me and him and go off on us and say, you're introducing demons to your child and men and women only and all this stuff that I really understand where she's coming from, but like to me and my kid together, like right here, do we need to discuss this versus a Facebook post? I don't know. And her daughter jumped out of nowhere and was like, Mom, I can't believe you're having this conversation again. And she was like my kid's age. And I was like, whoa. Like, and her kid was like going off and like, I've told you the gender binary does not exist. And I was like, oh, she's been unicorned. I was like, dang. No, I was like, I can see why you're upset. I was like, that was me. I'd be maybe a little triggered as well. Because her mom was like, she had a kid that, was really on it and really aware and really was articulating back to her mother that she wanted her to stop. I wanted her to stop going up to strange people in the Target to attack them on the basis of religion. So it was something that I've always been thinking about coming up within LGBT space, that I wanted to be that person who doesn't do that protest. right? And I did become a bit of a protester over time. But I was always thinking about how that can be done in an empathetic way, how that can be done in a non-threatening and non-disruptive way, right? Where we go up at the end of the event when everybody's leaving, oh, it's less of a big deal, but hey, we didn't disrupt everything and take somebody else's chance away who was, also a poor person who's striving in this world. Like, what right do we have to take that space from other people too, right? Is an act of protest also an act of disruption? So how can disruption be something that's formative, instructive, right? It has to be done in a way, I think, that includes compassion, empathy, and not like, oh, let me go protest little kids and let me go take down the people in the wheelchairs. Like, vote for equality, awesome. So getting people to really see, how they're coming at things. It's always been something I've been kind of trying to process because of how I grew up within a very rigid Christian conservative and actively anti-LGBT, anti-who I was space, and I remember that when I happened to be in the same space as Ryan White as he was walking in, and he dropped a bottle, and I thought, oh no, nobody's gonna pick it up, and I was like, I don't want to pick it up, and he looked at me and was like, see, and I was like, fuck, because to me I was like, I gave him a look of like, you a white person just shamed me correctly, like, which obviously does not happen very often. like I just want to give it, don't be getting excited, right? Like, no, it really doesn't. That a white LGBT person or non-LGBT person who's a white person living with HIV, could be, really in a space where they can understand what it's like to be the black person, to be in a black space, to be not black, right? I'm not saying that, but saying that they can empathize in a way that most white LGBT, when they say, oh yeah, I get it. No, you don't get it. You don't get none of it. But I felt from seeing how people were so scared to touch him. He's like a kid. And like there was like this distance, like everybody was standing back, like, and I was like, whoa. And because I was thinking to myself, I was like, I could have sworn I read that you can't get HIV from touching people. And so I just was really encouraged over the years to see people like Princess Diana and, my favorite Duchess of York and other people engage with, HIV advocacy, Elizabeth Taylor, right? All these people who really went out of their way to make sure that they showed the world hugging these people, these men, these boys. And I think there's so much left, so many stories there to tell of those, of our missing guys. And I wish to a certain extent, I had come out in high school, and that I had been braver, and I hung out with the lesbians like in high school. So I was in the lesbian club, and I did go to prom with lesbians as a third. So, in high school. But it was mostly because, we were a little bit worried about my high school that was fairly conservative, accepting the queer couple as a couple coming to prom. And I was like, they are not going to mess with you. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, you're going to have a great prom. It's going to be awesome. And so went with them, a bunch of other people and stuff. But went to prom a couple times, not going to lie. It was like 3 out of 4 years. Maybe 4. But, but, it was one of those things where I really was glad to be part of in high school, to know other people, even if I wasn't going to say to myself or to them, like, oh, hey, this is who I am. It was really encouraging and I saw other people be encouraged by outness, right? By somebody willing to show up and have something thrown at them for how they believe about equality, right? And I think that that's still something super, super worthwhile. And I thank Ryan White for his existence and his family for keeping him alive, and Elton John, all these different people who contributed to supporting his advocacy and supporting his foundation. So I encourage you to check it out if you don't know about him and his amazing story.